Good afternoon. So excited today. It's a beautiful day, and we are so excited because we are here today with Evelina Johnson Buendia. So excited to talk to her about her new book called Healed. This is the book right here, and she's going to be talking to us today about her journey with breast cancer. And Evelina, we met about, I think, in 2018, and she was one of our 2019 honorees for our Pink Perseverance Spirit of Hope Dinner Dance. So she's had a great journey, through that and everything. So without further ado, let's bring on Evelina. And here she is. Yay.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Evelina.
Thank you, Miss Linda. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, thank you so much for coming. So excited about your new book called Healed. And, it's such what a great testimony. It's such a wonderful testimony about your journey with breast cancer and everything that you went through as you were, first being diagnosed and, just everything that you had to go through, and I remember one of the first things I thought was so funny, just recalling one of the first times that we met. We were right in this room, remember, and we were videotaping your video, for the Spirit of Hope Dinner Dance. Each of the honorees did a video so they don't have to speak the night of the dinner, talking about their journey with breast cancer. And Evelina had her phone, and she and we were videotaping, and she wanted to read off her phone and everything. It was like we're videotaping, but I tell you, to see where you have come. I mean, from that moment until now, to say that you've actually written a book. Wow, what a journey! So how did you get there?
I know, what you were talking about, I was just thinking about that as I was walking. But as I was coming out the car, I'm like, man, it's like I'm a new woman, the Lord transformed me. I would have never thought. Yeah, Healed, the way that the book came about was because as I was going through the journey, I was told, somebody encouraged me and said, Evelina, you have to guard your mind. Mm-hmm. You have to just be around positive people. And I knew I didn't want to post anything on Facebook because sometimes when you post things on Facebook, not everybody wants your healing. And some people are like, don't tell me you're about to die. And I was like, no, I got to guard my mind. Yeah. And so I came across this blog called My Lifeline. And My Lifeline is for cancer patients that you can write on their updates on when your treatment is, or if you need any help to go to chemo or rides or anything like that. And I used it as a blog. So it was therapeutic for me, and I wrote every single day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sometimes I would write 3-4 times a day because that was like my release. And sometimes I didn't know what I was writing until I got to the very end. Mm-hmm. It was as if the Lord was pouring out of me all the words I needed to make it through that season. It was like a supernatural experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, and that was one of the interesting things that I thought about your book, the way you had it set up. Actually, it's actually like a journal, of all your thoughts and everything. Right. And as I was reading through, I said, wow, she was going through and actually writing down everything because, I know when I was going through it, that was one of the least things on my mind, was writing things down. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was really wonderful that and you have a record of what happened, when and where or whatever. So yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. When you were journaling, did you think you were going to put a book together?
No, I had no idea.
Wow. No. And see what came out of that. That is so wonderful, I tell you. Well, how did you come up with the title of your book, Healed?
Healed. That came about because I remember the first day I went to the oncology center to get genetic testing, and I was sitting in the lobby with my dad, and I didn't want my family to see that I was nervous, especially my dad. I didn't want him to see that. But he could tell. He's like, you nervous or something? I said, I need to go use the bathroom. So when I went into the bathroom, there was a big mirror there. And I looked at the mirror and I said, Evelina, you got this. Evelina, you made it. Evelina, you are healed. Evelina, you are restored. And so that's how I ended up using the word healed as a title, because that's something I repeated throughout the whole thing. Even when they were wheeling me in the OR, I'll always say, I'm healed, I'm healed, I'm healed.
Wow, and that positive energy and everything is exactly what you need, to actually get through it and help your body to heal. That's one of the things that, we tell our breast cancer, survivors and warriors, as we call them, to have that positive spirit, and to keep, all of that within you. It just does wonders for you. And I noticed too throughout your book, you state that, as you were journaling, you said, I'm healed, and, I'm healed. So what a perfect title, for your book and everything. Now, you mentioned your dad and everything, that in one part of your book you said that your dad was the hardest person to tell about your diagnosis and everything. And why was that? I know for me, the hardest people was our children. For some reason I just couldn't, whatever, but you said it was your dad. So why was that?
Yeah, it was my dad. Because my dad had already lost my oldest sister. She had died in 2005, and my dad had congestive heart failure. And so I didn't want to put more stress on his heart and for him to think that he was going to lose another child.
Oh, yes.
So I remember when they first told me, sorry. Sorry. I remember when they first told me that I was diagnosed. And I was like, man, I can't tell my dad. This is going to kill him. I said, I can't tell my dad. That's all I kept saying. I can't tell my dad. I can't tell my dad. But when I told him, it was as if he already knew. He was like, I ain't worried about it because I know you're going to be fine.
Yes.
And yeah, it was. And I think I wrote in the book that the person that it was hardest for me to tell, he gave me strength. He said to me, you remember when I was in the hospital and I was diagnosed with pneumonia? He said, the doctors had came in there and told me that this was the rarest pneumonia and that I was going to die. They gave me all these statistics and all the stuff that could happen to me. He said that he told those doctors, I hear what you're saying and I understand. Now I need you to step out of this room so I can consult my doctor.
Oh, wow. I tell you, that's right. He has the last say.
Yeah.
He has the last say.
Yeah, and he was with me every step of the way.
And, we find that a lot of times the people that we think it will take it the hardest turn out to be the most resilient and to give you that strength and everything that you need and everything. Yes. So that is wonderful. Let me see. Talked about there. There's several references in your book about knowing you were healed. Where did that strength come from? And I know you seem very spiritual and everything. Was that part of your upbringing, or how did that come about?
Yeah, it was just believing in God and the scripture that says to speak those things that are not as though they were.
Yes, awesome.
I had to keep speaking it because that's what I wanted the end result to be, healed.
That's right. Oh, wow. And that's, and that's something that we have to kind of talk to ourselves. We have to give ourselves that positive, feedback, and we have to surround ourselves with people who are positive as well.
That's right.
Like you said earlier, you want to make sure that, the people you confide in or who you decide to tell are someone that's going to give you that positive energy and everything.
Right. That's why that blog, it allowed me to create my own support system. Only the people that I let in were able to see my blog.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So you shared your blog a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, so there was a lot of people following me. Even the chaplain from the hospital. I remember the day that I had the mastectomy. He came in there to pray for me for the surgery. And I said, well, I actually wrote a prayer this morning, and I read it to him. He was like, I came here to encourage you, and you encouraging me. And then he ended up following me on my blog.
And you feel like you've grown from this experience.
Oh, yes. I'm a different woman.
Yes, I can see that. I can see that. I mean, when when we first met and everything, I always felt like Evelina had this joyful spirit about you, that you just radiated that joy and everything. But I can see the growth from that time, and everything. And that's just sometimes, we don't know why things happen to us. But, we always say God doesn't waste anything. He takes the good and the bad, and he helps you to grow and to learn from those things, help you to become a better person. And do you feel like you've helped other, survivors or other women who may be going through this because of your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when I was diagnosed, I asked the Lord, why me? And that was because, like, I had already been through so many other traumatic things in my life. And so I felt like he was picking on me. Like, Lord, why me? I've been through this. I've been through this. I've been through that. And I felt the Spirit of the Lord saying, Evelina, why not you? Because I know that you're strong, you're courageous. And when I heal you, you're going to testify to my goodness and encourage so many others.
Yeah.
And at that time, like, I thought of myself as somebody shy, not outspoken and stuff like that. But just this, like, he already knew what was going to happen through this.
Yeah. And you know what, he knew that you could handle it,
Yeah.
And I like this quote by Mother Teresa. She's and it says, roughly, maybe not exactly, but she says, I know God thinks I can handle it, but I wish he didn't trust me so much.
Yes.
Because of because of some of the things that we go through. Like you said, okay, I've already been through this, I've been through that, why this or whatever.
Right.
But like you said, why not? I mean, one of the things that I learned is that it touches everyone.
Yeah.
No one is exempt.
Right. Yeah. When I was younger, I used to always be really into, like, breast cancer advocating because I had an aunt who raised me who passed away from breast cancer. And so I wanted to work for this organization called Why Me.
Wow.
So interesting, like, why me? But I was never able to get in. But it was sort of like the Lord never forgot that I had that dream, but he made it even more personal. Like, man, like, why I have to go through this? That's why I always say breast cancer is like a blessing and a curse in my life.
Yes.
Yes. A curse because none of us want to be a part of this.
Right.
Like this club, but a blessing because it brought me to my calling and my purpose. And it's like he's giving me a torch to encourage the next survivor.
Yes, absolutely. And I, also feel like it's, something that if we didn't have this experience, we wouldn't have this organization. I wouldn't have met the people like yourself. I would have never come across many people that we have met if it weren't for cancer. Because it's like it's a whole nother world outside of the other world. There's a world within it. And, there are people and everything that are going through and having those struggles, and, you can talk to them because, you share those same struggles and they understand and everything. So that is wonderful. But let me ask you, as a mom, and your son was how old when you were diagnosed?
I think he was 1 year old.
Oh, my goodness. So, but as he was getting older, do you think he recognized what was happening with mommy, or how did you tell him later?
Later on, I think maybe, because, he saw my chest. I showed him and I said, mommy only has one breast because she's a breast cancer survivor. And because he asked me, mommy, why when I was little, you didn't have no hair? And I said, mommy's a breast cancer survivor. And I think that's as much as I've told him. Mommy's a breast cancer survivor. And I'll take him to the walks with me, or sometimes when I go speaking, once in a while, I'll take him. Yeah.
And it's funny because you don't realize how much children pick up. Even if you don't say anything, they realize that there's something different, or, there's something going on and everything. I remember one of the it was tough, telling the kids, our youngest, I think, was 5 or 6 years old, and our oldest was almost 18, and our middle son was 12.
Mm-hmm.
And, we sat down with our oldest first, and we told him, and he was like, "Mom, you're gonna be fine." And like you were saying about your dad, I thought it was something that would make them fall apart, or just feel like they were gonna lose their mom and everything. But they were so strong. I was so, we were so shocked at how resilient they were, and everything. And that did that help give you strength or comfort you that, he felt or seemed okay with telling, or how did you feel about that?
As I was going through it, I don't know. I actually wrote a blog about it. I mean, I'd like to read it to you, because I had my family members were taking care of him, so I never really had to worry about him.
Okay.
Yeah, because at the time it just so happened God worked it out that my mom was staying with us for a while, and I was already rooming with my sister.
Wow.
So I never had to worry about him, because sometimes the treatment would make me so tired I don't even want to move, and never had to worry about that. I wrote this blog because one day, not only did I write this Heal to be able to encourage other survivors, but this is like a memoir to my baby as well. And this one is titled A Mother's Strength, Monday, August 28th. When I think about my father's strength, I think about his mother, my granny, a woman of great faith whom I wish was still here to pinch up this little boy. My grandmother was such a strong woman that to this day, I still don't understand how she was able to witness the murder of her youngest son and be able to embrace his lifeless body after being struck by a truck. How? But not only did God give my grandmother that kind of strength, but he gave her the strength to then again defeat her very own medical issues and yet again be a caregiver for another dying child. Really? I don't know how my granny did it, but one thing's for sure, her strength was always credited to the Lord. That's why there's no doubt in my mind that her strength reflects in my father, a man who reminds my sisters and I daily that God's report is the only report that we shall believe, a man who enjoys it to the fullest, regardless of what life throws his way, a man who's always there to help all others, because the lesson is that you never know when you'll need others to help you. That is the type of role model I desire to be for my son, a mother whom he can reflect on and say, I know it was her strength that brought her through. But today I'm so grateful that Emil has no idea what's going on. It makes it easier for me not having to ease his doubts as to whether or not Mommy will make it, or having him seeing me sick on my worst days. And although many may say, Evelina, but you're being so strong, still, for a young child to watch their mother or father go through cancer is not an easy thing to do. So for his younger age, I'm thankful. But at times it's just so funny, though, as I see him adapt to the changes. For instance, the first day I cut my hair, he gave me this look that was priceless. It was almost as if he was saying to himself, who's that? She looks like my mommy, but why does she look like that? Is that really my mommy? Wait a minute. Something is missing. Is that really your mommy? Seriously, he stared at me for so long with this puzzling look on his face. And then the first day he saw me lay down that wig, he was even really more confused. He looked at me, and he looked at that wig, and he looked at me again, and he must have said, well, wait a minute, why is your hair over there and you're sitting over here? Confused as heck, especially at a time when Mommy is teaching you to point to your hair on your head. But yes, overall, I hope that this journey will just be another example of Mommy's strength and how God saw fit to use her because he knew that she could be used. The type of strength that he can reflect on and say, my mommy is and forever will be among my heroes. I love you, Emil. I'll never forget, I was actually speaking
Beautiful.
Yes.
Very beautiful.
Yeah, I was actually speaking to one of my clients that, before I wrote this, and I was telling him, what my son did, and he said, did you write that down? He said, you need to write that down so you can share that with him when he grows up.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And now it's in printed word, and he can see it and everything. I mean, I think this is wonderful. how you set this book up, and you literally documented everything you were going through from your diagnosis, the treatments, how you felt, how you were going into surgeries and everything. I mean, very, very well put together.
Thank you.
I was very, very impressed by that. So at the end of your book, you say that the journey continues. And so, when I said, oh, the journey continues, and the subtitle says, in quotes, radiation. So is there going to be a follow-up to the book, or are you planning to write more?
Yes, actually, I wrote so much that I split my blog in half.
Wow, you heard it right here. There's going to be a follow-up. All right,
yes,
wonderful,
so
wonderful.
The next part talks about me going through radiation and reconstruction and dealing with some things with my father. Yes, I need to jump on it.
Wow. So I tell you, it looks like the book is getting a lot of positive and everything, reviews. How are people responding to it? Because you've been doing book tours and everything,
yes.
right?
They love it, and they love that it's not only reaching just cancer survivors, but anybody that's going through anything in life.
Oh, yeah, wonderful. It can apply to anything, which is really great.
Yeah.
So where can anyone find your book? I know it's in the bookstores, but tell everyone where you can and where you'll be seeing next, because you have some upcoming book signings, right?
Yes, okay. I do. Yes, you can find it at Barnes & Noble online. You can go into your Barnes & Noble and let them know that you'd like to order Healed. I also have it at Second and Charles and Newport News. I have it at Paperback Inc. But there's a listing. If you go to my Facebook, Evelina Johnson Buendia, under the links, then you'll see all the different places that it's available at. And the next place that I'll be is Paperback Inc. on the 28th. We're having a book tasting.
A book tasting?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes. How does that work? A book tasting?
Yes, this will be my first time. But
that sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's sort of like a wine tasting, they said it's going to be. So you'll go around different tables and...
What, read an excerpt, maybe, of the book?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All
yes,
right,
you'll meet the authors. And I believe that they're going to have a meal as well.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, awesome. Well, before we leave, I love my little sugar boo cards, but these are my little Oprah cards I want to end with. And mine says, people may not remember what you did or what you said, but they always remember how you made them feel. Okay? And that's by Maya Angelou.
Yes, that's beautiful. And mine says, in order to be who you are, you must let go of who you think you are. Amen. Michael Singer. Awesome. I love it.
Awesome. I love that. Yes. I love that. Well, thank you so much again, Evelina, for being here. Oh, my goodness. I'm so proud of you.
Yes.
And much more success and everything to your book, Healed. We're going to be looking forward to the follow-up and everything. We did have a little gift here for you that we want to give you. We're thinking of you a little rosebud, and since we don't know what the Virginia weather is doing, right? 85 degrees one day, and we're in snow the next day. But when it's officially spring, you'll be able to plant that.
Yes, that's so beautiful. Thank you.
White roses and think of pink perseverance. So,
yes.
So we'd like to thank everybody for joining us this afternoon, and be sure to go out and get Evelina's book, Healed. And just as a reminder, I want to remind everyone that we do have an event coming up, Pink Perseverance event. We will be at Painting with a Twist in the Peninsula Center, and that's on May 2nd at 2 o'clock. So if you'd like to join us for a little painting and some optional candle making, please go to our website at www.pinkperseverance.com. It's also on our Facebook page, my Facebook page, Linda Whitlock, and also the Pink Perseverance Facebook page. Okay? Everyone have a great afternoon.
Bye.
Oh, y'all are so natural.
Yeah.
My God.
Okay, good.